She shoved a fake HOA notice into my mailbox and screamed, "You're not welcome here." "I already called the cops." I watched from the kitchen door as she swaggered down my porch with my new package tucked under her arm, like she owned my driveway. I followed slow, heart pounding, because this wasn't the first time. 3 boxes gone in a week. Gifts for my little girl, groceries, things you don't take from a porch. I waited until she left, and then I didn't call my neighbor or yell. I did something quieter and meaner. I swapped the next delivery for one I could watch. When she came back that night, she didn't walk, she stalked, chin high, and said out loud to nobody, "People like you don't belong here." Slipped my phone out of my sleeve and hit record. The moment she ripped the tape off and the bag burst open, black confetti scattered over her white shoes, and a tiny speaker blared a recorded voice saying, "We see you." She froze, fingers trembling, her perfect face cracking. "What is this?" she hissed. But the camera on the porch had already been live to my phone. I stayed calm and let her panic grow while I kept recording, because calm was my power tonight. I didn't shout. I only walked up and held out the phone with the timestamp and the other clips, quiet like a verdict. "You don't get to steal from my family and call it law," I said, and she turned red like she'd been caught stealing candy. She showed up the next morning like nothing had happened, sunglasses, coffee in hand, pretending she didn't look like she'd just lost a war. She even waved at my porch camera, muttering, "Nice prank, loser," under her breath. But I could tell the confetti had rattled her. She'd started glancing around, looking for hidden eyes. What she didn't know was I'd already sent the footage to the real HOA board, the local delivery office, and my lawyer friend Mark, who owed me a favor from our army days. That afternoon, another package arrived in bright orange, heavy, with my name on it. I left it on the porch in plain sight. From the window, I watched Karen slow her golf cart right in front of my yard. She looked both ways like a bad actor in a cheap spy movie, then snuck toward it. I almost laughed. She grabbed the box, but this time it didn't burst and it screamed. A motion sensor I'd planted triggered a loud siren and flashing lights. She yelped, dropped it, and stumbled back right as the real mailman pulled up. The man blinked, looked at her, and then at me standing behind the glass door. "Everything okay here?" he asked. Karen's fake smile cracked. "This man's breaking HOA rules," she said, voice shaky. The mailman frowned. "Ma'am, this isn't HOA property. This is his land. See that marker?" He pointed at the boundary post I'd installed. Official. Registered, impossible to argue with. For the first time, Karen didn't have words. She turned, flustered, muttering something about calling the board. I smiled and said quietly, "Yeah, you do that." I already did. And for the first time since she moved in, she didn't look like the one in charge. She looked scared. That night, the neighborhood group chat exploded. Screenshots, clips, everyone talking about the package. Thief. I didn't even have to post the video myself. Someone from the HOA board had leaked it. By morning, Karen's little empire of fake rules had started to crumble. People were furious. Turns out I wasn't her only target. She'd fined an old couple for hanging their flag too high, yelled at kids for riding bikes, even claimed the local cop's truck violated community aesthetics. Around noon, she showed up again, red-faced, shouting from her golf cart. "You think you're smart, huh? You think this is over?" I opened my porch door slowly, calm as ever. "Karen," I said, "I told you last week, I record everything." Right then, a black SUV rolled up. 2 real sheriff deputies stepped out, badges shining in the sun. "Ma'am," one said, "we need to talk about those fake notices and the trespassing complaint." Her face drained of color. "You can't arrest me. I'm part of the HOA." The officer raised a brow. "There's no HOA here, ma'am. The county dissolved it 5 years ago." The silence that followed was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. She looked at me, eyes wide, realizing the whole time she'd been bossing people around with authority that didn't even exist. As they read her rights, she screamed, "This is my neighborhood." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Not anymore." By evening, the whole street was out, neighbors waving, laughing, some even clapping as the sheriff car pulled away. One of the kids shouted, "Package King wins again," and I couldn't help but grin. Later, sitting on my porch with a cold drink, I watched the sun dip behind the trees and thought about how crazy it was. All I wanted was peace and a few simple deliveries. I raised my glass toward the camera and said quietly, "You don't mess with a man's home." Then I added with a smile, especially when he's got the footage to prove it. Justice served, neighborhood free, and the porch and finally mine again. The end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing HOA stories.